A very good afternoon, guys. Continuing further with FM. Now, today I take the next chapter of your syllabus, that is working capital finance. Now, in your second year back in management accounting, you all have done a chapter called as working capital. You all know what is working capital. Working capital is nothing but it is the difference between your current assets and current liability. If you make an accounting equation, working capital is equal to current assets minus current liability. What is current assets? What is current liability? You all know very well. Short-term assets are called as current liabilities, and current assets and short-term liabilities are called as current liability. No legal definition. You all know that very well. The criteria set is 1 year. Anything which is for a period of more than 1 year is long term, less than 1 year short term. Same thing applies for liabilities also. So in short, there is no legal definition defining the criteria of short term, long term, but accountants and analysts take a criteria of 1 year to classify into long term and short term. So current assets are short term assets and current liabilities are short-term liabilities, and the difference between the current assets and current liabilities is called as working capital. Working capital is nothing but it is a short-term source of finance. Money which you need to run your day-to-day business activities is financed through working capital. The amount which you require to run the business on a regular basis, that is your working capital. Now the name of the chapter is Working Capital Finance. This chapter, as far as your Tybaf syllabus is concerned, is in 3 parts. First, where the majority of the things are same what you all have done in SY, with additional calculation towards the end, where you have to calculate the maximum permissible finance limit as per Tandon committee. They are the experts who have derived this equation. So that today you forecast your working capital. The first step is you have to forecast your working capital, which is exactly the same what you all did in SY. Get the amount of current assets and current liabilities same way, and once you get the current assets and current liability, you have to apply the norm which is said by Tandon committee. There are 3 things in that. I will discuss that in some time. According to that, you have to approach the bank wherever required for getting finances. What are the norms? I will discuss in some time. So the first part of this chapter is maximum permissible bank finance prescribed by Tandon committee. Second, a very small part, commercial paper. Commercial paper is very short-term source of finance, unsecured papers where financing is done either through bank or through financial institution. When we get into that part, I will discuss in detail. And the third part what you'll have is factoring. Factoring means you appoint a factor. How you all used to do? Underwriters used to appoint underwriters for issuing shares. Same way, when you sell goods on credit, collection responsibility, you give it to some agency who are called as factors, and the process what they go through to collect our money is called as factoring. So 3 parts of this chapter. First, maximum permissible bank finance as per Tandon committee, which I am going to start now, and it will go on for around 3-4 sessions. After that, commercial papers, which will take not more than 2, shouldn't be taking more than 2 classes, and the last is factoring. Now, as and when I come across the part, I will keep on explaining you in detail. Today, right now, let's get into the first part, that is maximum permissible bank finance. Okay? J type 1, maximum permissible permissible bank finance. That means as per the norms, in case you are falling short of working capital, how much you can arrange with the help of banks and financial institutions. We call it as MPF. These can come in your internals for 5 marks. They will give you current assets, current liability figures, or also it can come in the form of long questions or anything is possible. But if it comes in internals, they will give you the figure of current assets and current liabilities, and they may tell you to calculate. Now see, this is prescribed by Tandon committee. Important for objective point of view. Now, when I say maximum permissible bank finance, that means the maximum amount bank can finance. The logic is, you know what? First you compute your requirement of current assets and liabilities. First you compute your requirement of current assets and current liability. You say you need a working capital of 50 lakhs. Now you do your projection. You see, I need working capital of 50 lakhs. So 50 lakhs may say how much I have. The part which I don't have, that I will try to arrange in the form of credit or loan. So if you approach the bank or a financial institution, you will get the finance according to your credentials, but then there is a criteria that you can get only up to a certain limit, not beyond that. And that is what we are going to do now, Tandon committee. Now before I start the first sum, we should know what is that maximum limit. Now in this there are 3 methods, method 1, method 2, method 3. The criteria is a bit different for all 3 of them. Okay, just write it down and then we will get into the sum. Method number 1. Method number 1 of Tandon committee. Okay, I'll write here. This is as per Tandon committee. Now see, as I told you, the first step is you will have to calculate your current assets and current liability. The first thing what you have to calculate is your current assets and current liability. After you calculate your current assets and current liability, then you have to apply method number 1. Now, the limit as per method number 1, it will be 75% of your working capital. In the example what I told you, suppose your working capital is 50 lakhs. You go to the bank and approach. As per the norms set by Tandon committee, method 1, you can get maximum 75% of your working capital. 50 lakh ka 75% works to 37 lakh 50,000. This is what you will be getting. So my method number 1 will be 75% of working capital, and working capital is nothing but current assets minus current liabilities. Just understand the base. Anyway, when I start the sum, I will go in depth. Okay. So method number 1 is 75% of current assets minus current. See, understand this. You will take the working capital, current assets minus current liability. Whatever answer you get, uska 75% you will take. Whatever answer you get, you will take uska 75%. This is method number 1. Important for objective also. They can ask you an objective also. Next is method number 2. Now guys, understand the difference. Method 1 में क्या था? Take the difference between current assets and current liability and take उसका 75%. Method number 2 में it will be 75% of current assets, and from that deduct the current liabilities. Understand the difference. First method में current liabilities को deduct करो from current assets. Whatever you get, take उसका 75%. Method 2 में take 75% of your current assets and from that deduct current liability. Understand this. Current assets का 75% लेना है and then deduct current liability. यहाँ पे क्या है? Here it is. First take the difference working capital, that is current assets minus current liability. Whatever is the difference, take उसका 75%. Here take current assets का 75% and from that deduct current liabilities. This was method number 2. Now method number 3. Now see, before you see the equation of method 3, there is something called as core current assets which will be implemented in the equation. Now what do you mean by core current assets? Now core current assets is that part of your working capital or current assets which you have to keep it in business. You can say it is like your permanent working capital. Working capital is what? Short-term source of financing. Normally it is temporary because current assets and current liabilities keep on changing. But when you are doing business, there is some money which will always be blocked. Say for example, you are having a mobile car showroom. In your mobile showroom, you have 200 mobile phone car stocks. Now, it is not possible that पूरे दिन में 200 mobile एक साथ बिक जाएगा. होएगा भी, but what will happen? When you sell, again you buy. Again you sell, again you buy. So, थोड़ा बहुत stock at any given point of time has to be there in your business. That is nothing but your core current assets, or you can say that amount of working capital which has to be permanently blocked in the business. You can't do anything. Business करना है, पैसा चाहिए. Some part of the amount has to be invested in business. So that is your core current assets. So now, when you take the third method में you have to give the effect of core current assets. Calculate कैसे करने का, that you don't have to bother. They will give you in the question. They will tell you, itna, this is the core current assets, or out of your total current asset, 10% is core, 20% is core, or the amount will be given. So your method number 3 will be based on core and non-core. Core is that which has to be in the business. Non-core will keep on changing. But core current assets, you have to keep it in the business. So what will happen? When you compute now, see, this is what? Working capital financing. I need to have that financing. Now, एक बार मेरा permanent working capital हो गया, I don't need उसका finance. That money will keep on rotating in the business. So I have to make arrangement for the remaining part. So what you have to do? You will have to take your current assets, total current assets, which includes both core and non-core. उसमें से you have to deduct core current assets, and then you will have to compute the MPBF, that is the maximum permissible bank finance, as per method number 3. So उसका criteria is, you know what? You will take 75%. What I told you, current assets will include both core, non-core. तो क्या करोगे? You will take 75% of current assets. उसमें से you will deduct core current assets. 75% of net current. That means what? Current assets में से core current assets को minus करो, and from that you deduct your current liabilities. That will give you your working capital, that is maximum permissible bank finance, as per method number 3. I'll repeat, guys. See, method 1, 75% of current assets minus current liability, difference का 75%. Method 2, take current assets का 75%, From that, deduct current liabilities. Method 3, take 75%, put a bracket, current assets minus core current assets. Suppose my current asset is 1 crore. Core current asset is 20 lakhs. 1 crore minus 20, 80 lakhs. Take 80 lakh ka 75% and deduct current liability. Got it? This is important not only from the sums point of view, but also from objectives point of view, also from short sums point of view. This is the criteria. First initial days we will be doing this, and as I told you, before we do this, the first thing what you are supposed to do is you'll have to calculate individually current assets and current liabilities, which is the same of your SYBAP. And then once you get current assets, current liabilities, you have to do this. They can ask you all the 3 methods. They can ask you 1 method, they can ask you 2 methods. They'll mention method 1, method 2, method 3. Now in practical life, which method to apply, that will depend upon industry to industry, business to business, depending upon your credentials. That is not in your syllabus. Today, you are just supposed to do the calculation as per maximum permissible bank finance. Again, repeating important but objective norms set by Tandon committee. There are committees which assist the government in taking decisions. Tandon committee is one of them who has a role to play for making financial decisions on behalf of experts. Keep on changing, but the origin name of the committee remains the same. Got it, guys? So now we will start with this first part, maximum permissible bank finance, and I'll be taking sums. In this video I'm just taking 1 sum, and then in the next video I'll come with 2 sums. Okay, I'll just take the picture of this and I'll just be back with the sum. Okay guys, continuing with the first sum. I'm going very slow with this sum. In this recording we will just take the sum. Then in the next recording I will take 2 sums, where the statement of working capital I'll solve and keep. Don't worry, I'll discuss the full sum, and then the calculation of maximum permissible bank finance I will do with you. Okay, so continuing with the first sum, that is question number 3 from our sheet. Question number 3. Let's see. You are supplied with the following information in respect of Pradeep Limited for the year 2018. Production given for the entire year 72,000 units. Finished goods in stores 3 months. Raw material in store 2 months consumption. Production process 1 month. Credit allowed by suppliers 2 months. Credit given to debtors 3 months. Selling price per unit 40 rupees. Raw material cost 50% of selling price. Direct wages 20% of selling price. Overheads 10% of selling price. There is a regular production and sales cycle, and wages and overhead accrue evenly. Wages are paid in for the next month of accrual, and overheads are paid in the same month. Material are introduced in the beginning of the production cycle. Data should be computed at sales value. You are required to find out working capital requirement of Pradeep Limited. This is the same thing what I have done in SY. And see the second part, B part. Permissible bank borrowings as per first and second method of lending. First and second method. So they have not given you calculations for the third method. Because they give you the, if they give you the information to get the lending limit for the third method, they have to give you direct or indirect information for core current assets, which is not given. Okay guys, now listen how you will proceed. First, you will make this table. Statement of working capital requirement of Pradeep Limited for 2018. This will take around 3/4 of the page. 3/4, 75% of the page will go for this table. Then there will be couple of working notes, which we will do it in the next page. Even if you continue below, it's fine, but what I would suggest now, take the working notes on the next page, so that in the balance part of the page we can do that maximum permissible bank finance calculation. And as I mentioned in the discussion, that first you have to get your current assets and current liability, and then only the permissible bank finance comes into picture. Now, what is working capital? Current assets minus current liabilities. So what you do first, give the subheading current assets. Give the subheading current assets. Okay, now listen. Information is given in the question. One by one, we have to calculate each current assets and then current liability. Now before that, if you see the second line of the question, production for the year is given 72,000 units. Now after that, if you see for the next 5 to 6 lines, which is the word common? 3 months, 2 months, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. So this is monthly. So what I have to do is, my first step is, you will have to find out the number of units to be produced and sold per month. We can do it orally also, but because it's a board exams, we will show proper calculation. So you all can come to the next page. Working note 1. Calculation of units produced and sold per month. Calculation of units produced and sold per month. Okay. Now see, what is my annual units? My units for the full year is 72,000. If it is weeks, you will divide by 52 or 50. They'll mention in the question. If nothing mentioned, 52. If it is months, you will divide by 12. If days, 365 or 360. But normally in this type they ask you months and weeks only. यहाँ पे it is months. So 72,000 you will divide it by 12. Therefore, your units produced and sold per month will be 6,000. So units produced and sold per month will be 6,000. Units produced and sold per month will be 6,000. Clear, guys? This 6,000 will be a common digit which will be used at majority of the places in this table. Clear? Now listen. You all have done this in costing also. To manufacture a product, what I need is elements. You all have in Tybaf separate chapters: material, labor and overheads. So 3 important things: material, labor, wages or overheads. Normally they give you the cost per unit for material, labor, overheads, but here it is not given. See the data. See the second half of the question. After selling price, raw material cost is 50% of selling price, wages 20%, overheads 10% of selling price. Can I say I have the selling price? So again we will show the working. Working note number 2. We call it as, give the heading, analysis of cost per unit. Analysis of cost per unit. These calculations what we are going to do, HY may you all had advanced calculation. Here these calculation ka level will be a bit lower than HY, but focus will be on maximum permissible finance. Remember, this is the first part of the chapter. This is not the entire chapter. This is the first part of the chapter. Now see, what all is there? Material, wages, direct wages and also, right? One below the other. First element, raw materials. Then what you have? Direct wages. Then what you have? Overheads. For presentation purpose, the total of the 3, we'll call it as total cost. There is selling price. So the difference between the selling price and the total cost will be your profit. Difference between your selling price and total cost will be your profit. Okay guys, now see, we will show the calculation in brackets. Now first see the question. See, material, wages, overheads, total cost, profit and selling price. Out of this, which information is directly given in the question? See there, selling price, can I say it's given 40? So against selling price, write 40. Very simple this is. Now see, what they say for raw material cost, 50% of selling price. Selling price is 40, 40 ka 50%. So my raw material cost is 20. Wages, what is the percentage of wages? 20%. So wages will be 40 ka 20%, that will give you 8. Wages 40 ka 20%, that is 8. And the last what you have is overheads, that is 40 ka 10%, that is 4. So 20 plus 8, 28, 28 plus 4, 32. Cost is 32, selling price is 8, so 40. So 40 minus 32, profit is 8. These figures may be given or you may have to calculate. If these were given, then there was no need for this working note. So I'll repeat. We have the selling price 40. Raw material, direct wages, overheads ka breakup is not given, but they have given us percentage. So we make the statement of analysis of cost per unit. So when I produce my goods, each unit of raw material will cost me 20 rupees, wages 8, overheads 4, total cost 32, profit. Now on the basis of these two working notes, I can proceed further and get my current assets. Okay, also the current liabilities. Now, in order to apply the limit of maximum permissible bank finance by Tandon committee, first I'll have to finish off this table. Get the current assets, get the current liability, and then we will take that MPBF counterpart. Now, heading is there, current assets. We always start with stock. Now, stock depends. If you are a manufacturer, you will have 3 types of stock: raw material, WIP, finished goods. And if you are a trader, you will just be having finished goods. He is a manufacturer because that is the reason wages comes, raw materials comes. If he is a trader, there is no question of raw material. So first, we will always start with stock of raw material. So write it, Roman 1 for better presentation. Stock of raw material. Now every line may there will be a bracket, just be careful. Stock of raw material. Put a bracket, we'll show the calculation here. Now see, why this working note 1 was important. Every month you will produce 6,000 units. So put a bracket. 6,000 into, what is this? Stock of raw material. See the cost of material. Kitna? 20. So 6,000 units per month multiply by 20. Now see, when I say stock, see, why we buy raw material? To produce finished goods. So today I buy, it will be converted into finished goods. Again I buy, it will be converted into finished goods. Now how much time does it take? They have to give you that. See there. See the third line. Raw material in stores. How much? 2 months consumption. That means your stock of raw material will be equivalent to 2 months consumption. At any point of time, 2 months consumption hoga. So what you will do? Further multiply by. So I'll repeat. 6,000 units per month. 20 rupees is my cost of raw material and 2 months. So my stock of raw material blocked up, or you can say blocked up in the business is 2,40,000. Getting it? 6,000 units per month, multiply by 20, multiply by. Next, after raw materials, The next will be stock of work in progress. This table is just a revision of HYPAF. Now, you all know what is work in progress. Work in progress means that stock which is locked up in the business, but it is that stock where the goods are yet to be complete. Work in progress is semi-finished goods or goods which are yet to be completed. Understand this because the meaning will have an impact here. Work in progress मतलब काम चालू है. Goods are being processed, not yet fully manufactured. Now listen, when I say not yet fully manufactured, that means it might be 1% complete, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 95, 99, but not 100%. Because if it is 100%, it is finished goods. So, percentage of WIP, rarely they give you. If nothing is given, it is not given here also, it will be assumed that the work is half completed, that is 50%. If nothing is mentioned, it will be assumed that work in progress is 50% complete. Now listen, when I start the process, depending upon the nature of business, normally you have to use full material. So this stock of WIP will be broken up in 3 parts, same 3 elements. Okay, so what we do, one below the other, just write it. Then there will be a bracket for each of them. Raw materials, direct wages and overheads. Raw materials, direct wages, overheads. Now see the last paragraph. Material are introduced in the beginning. Even if nothing is mentioned, it is assumed that material will be introduced in the beginning. So what will happen? Whether your work is 1% complete or 99% complete, materials you will always take full. So what you do? Put a bracket. 6,000. Put a bracket. 6,000. Multiply by same material. Material ka cost is 20. So multiply by 20. Now guys, see the period of WIP. WIP period is nothing but the time the production process takes. What is given there? Production process takes 1 month. So you will multiply by 1. Getting it? I'll repeat. 6,000 number of units into the material cost 20 into 1. So 6,000 into 20 gives you 1,20,000. Multiply by 1 and the same figure आएगा. So put it in the first column. So my raw material cost for WIP is 1,20,000. Raw material cost for WIP is 1,20,000. Got it, guys? Now be careful for wages and overheads. Put a bracket. I'll repeat what I told you. If nothing is mentioned, it will be assumed that the goods are half completed, 50%. Materials are introduced in starting. So materials I'll take full only. Now see for wages. First step is same. Understand this very carefully. Unit same. 6,000. Wages. What is the cost of wages? 8 rupees. Multiply by 8. Period of process 1 month. Yes, same. Now listen. The work is half completed. Nothing given, half completed. Materials, nothing given. They have mentioned. Even if not mentioned, it is assumed that materials will be introduced in the beginning. So, when I take wages and overheads ka WIP, it will be in proportion of work completed. Work completed is 50%. So, wages I will further multiply by 50%. 50% or you can take half. Remember, it will be only for wages and overheads, not for material. Getting it? So wages and overheads for the purpose of WIP will be taken at half. So wages component of WIP will be 24,000. Getting it? Same. Overheads. Units are common, 6,000. What I told you? The units in the first working note will be common everywhere. Overheads will be 4. Same. Period multiply by 1. So 6,000 into 4 into 1. Same thing. You will multiply by the proportion, that is 50%. So 6,000 into 4 divided by 2. That will give you 12,000. So my total WIP will become 1,56,000. Total WIP 1,56,000. I'll repeat, guys. Stock of work in progress means that goods which are not yet fully completed, semi-finished goods. Not yet completed matlab anything, 1%, 2%, 10, 15, 20, 60, 70, 80, 90, 95, up to 99, not 100. Because if it is 100% complete, it becomes finished goods. So nothing given, we take 50%. Raw materials, nothing given, again repeating, mentioned here, you have introduced materials in the beginning, so you will take full, whereas wages and overhead you will take in proportion to the work completed, nothing given, so 50%. So material, number of units into cost into the period, wages, number of units into cost into the period into 50%, same thing for overheads. This is the breakup of WIP and this is your total WIP. Got it? Now, coming back to stock. 3 types of stock you have done in F5 also, manufacturing and consumer. Raw materials, WIP and finished goods. 3 major types. There are more types also, but 3 major types. So I take third, that is stock of finished goods. Third, that is stock of finished goods. Now here there won't be any breakup. Put a bracket. Same. Units will be the same. 6,000. Units will be the same, that is 6,000. Now guys, see. When I take finished goods I will take always at total cost. Finished goods I will take at total cost. There are certain exceptions, like one example, selling overheads will never be included as a part of cost of finished goods. Selling overheads will never be included as a part of finished goods. That we'll see at a later stage. Right now only overheads means factory overheads. So finished goods I will take at a total cost, 20 plus 8 plus 4, that is 32. So finished goods I will take 32. Why 32? Because what is finished goods? Goods are complete. So if goods are complete, all cost is completely allocated. So I take 32. And see the period of finished goods, what they say, have they mentioned? Yeah. Finished goods in stores, second line mein 3 months. So you will multiply by 3. Yahan pe percentage is always 100. So 6,000 into 32 into 3 gives you 5,76,000. 6,000 into 32 into 3, 5,76,000. Clear, guys? So 240 amount blocked for raw material, 156 for WIP and 576 for finished goods. Stocks for this chapter will be allocated in 3 parts: raw material, WIP, finished goods. And if the businessman, if the company for whom we are forecasting this is a trader, then there will be only finished goods ka stock, material and WIP won't. That is very rare they'll ask you. And if they ask you, it's bonus per year. Okay. After stocks, the normal trend is we take sundry debtors. You all know very well, debtors is a current asset. Why? What I told you, current asset is nothing but short-term asset. Current asset is nothing but short-term asset. The amount of assets keeps on changing. Today you sell on credit, get the money. Sell, take the money. Sell, take the money. Amount keeps on changing. Clear? Let's put a bracket. Understand. Units 6,000 will be the same. Sometimes there will be a change, but 6,000 will be the same. Into, now listen, who are debtors? Debtors are the people to whom we sell goods. Debtors are the people to whom we sell goods. So in absence of information, debtors will always be taken at selling price. It is very rare, they can tell you. Sometimes they'll tell you debtors value at cost. So if they tell you value at cost, then you will take 32. The reason is, you know what? Some experts feel that profit kabhi milega jab debtors paisa dega. So till the time debtors is not giving the money, you take it at cost only. But majority says debtors को goods बेचा at selling price, so profit is yours only. नहीं आता है उसको बाद में bad debts treat करो. But right now you take it at selling price. So there is a difference of opinion which is going to be lifetime. So in short, what you all are supposed to do, if nothing is given, you will take it at selling price. If they tell you to take at cost, then only you take it at cost. But यहाँ पे बोला है selling price, so we will take it at selling price. That is 40. So 6,000 into 40. Now what you will do? See the period. Credit given to debtors. What they say? Credit given to debtors 3 months. So multiply by 3. Sometimes they will give you percentage of credit sales or cash sales. So you will multiply by the percentage of credit sales. Okay? But यहाँ पे वो नहीं है. So 6,000 into 40 into 3, that gives you 7,20,000. 7,20,000. Got it? Now guys, just see. Is there any other information? There are other current assets also, like cash and bank, bills receivable, prepaid expenses. Can you see any information? Production ka part done, finished goods, raw material done, production process done. Credit allowed by suppliers, that is creditor, it's a liability. Credit given to debtors done, raw material, wages, overhead, selling price done. Then in the next para they say wages and overheads accrue evenly. Wages are paid in the next month, that means it is outstanding, liability. Overheads paid in the same month. Now when I say overheads are paid in the same month, that means it is neither a current asset because it is not paid in advance, nor it is a current liability which is to be paid in the next month. So overheads will not come. But as of now, whatever pending items are there, they are connected with liability, no other current asset. So what you do, take the total of this and call it as A. Take the total of this. So 2,40,000 plus 156 plus 576 plus 720 gives you 16,92,000. Gives you 16,92,000. This in your SY we used to use the word gross working capital, alternate word total current assets. We will make it very simple. You all call this as total current assets. You all call it as total current assets. You all call it as total current assets. Now, what are we finding? Working capital. To get the working capital, from this we will deduct current liabilities. From this we will deduct current liabilities. Okay? Now when we start with current liabilities, our first current liability normally is sundry creditor. And remember, this order is not important. Suppose even if you shuffle, it's fine. As far as your individual amount of current assets and current liabilities, okay, no problem with that. Okay, sundry creditors. Put a bracket. Same units 6,000. Now listen. Who are creditors? Creditors are the people from whom we buy goods. Tell me, यहाँ पे तुम क्या buy करोगे? Raw material, because you are going to purchase. Wages I cannot buy, overheads I cannot buy. If it is payable, it is called as outstanding. So what I will buy is material. So this I will multiply by the cost of material, and this you will multiply by the period which is allowed by the supplier or creditors, which is 2. So 6,000 into 20 into 2, you will get 120 into 2. That is 2,40,000. That is 2,40,000. Getting it? Now see guys. Wages you are going to pay in the next month. That means what? Current month ka wages I will pay in the next month. So can I say at the end of the year? At the end of the year, जो last month है, उसका wages will go in the next month. That means it will be outstanding for 1 month. So therefore, my next heading will be outstanding wages. Next will be outstanding wages. Okay, put a bracket. 6,000. Cost of wages 8. So multiply by 8. Now it is paid in the next month. So therefore you will multiply by 1. So 6,000 into 8 into 1, that will give you 48,000. So 6,000 into 8 into 1 gives you 48,000. 48,000. Clear guys? Now see, overheads, what I was mentioning again, I'll repeat in detail. Overheads can be outstanding like wages. But see, what they say, overheads paid in the same month. That means every month ka overheads I am paying in the same month. So can I say when the year gets over, nothing is payable for that particular year? And if nothing is payable, there is no question of a liability only. If you pay in advance, it is a current asset. If you paid in the next month, payable, current liability. This is paid in the same month, nor in advance, so no current assets, nor payable in future, so no current liability. So overheads will not come only in this statement, because it is neither a current asset nor a current liability for this case, because it is paid every month. Just see, is there any other information? No, nothing. So take the total of these two, make it as P. So 2,88,000. 2,88,000. We call this as total current liabilities. Call this as total current liabilities. I got my current assets, I got my current liabilities. Therefore, my working capital will be A minus B. That will give you 1692 minus 288. That gives you 14,04,000. So my working capital will be A minus B, that is 14,04,000. Working capital A minus B, that is 14,04,000. All of you are clear with this? As I told you, before we apply the limit of Tandon committee maximum permissible bank finance, first what I need is the figure of current assets, figure of current liabilities, which I got it. Got it? So this table, whatever I've done right now on the board, this is nothing but SY-BAF car revision. Now the new point. I'll just do it here because of lack of space. Okay. Now, what are we supposed to do? Maximum permissible bank finance. Okay. You all can do it below the table if you all have the space. Okay. Maximum permissible bank finance. See the last line. What they say? First and the second method. So let's take one by one. Method 1. Now what is method 1? What I told you? It is 75% of the difference between current assets and current liabilities. 75% of current assets and current liabilities. Okay, so substituting further, current assets मेरा 16,92,000 minus 288, automatically it is 14,04,000 only. So 14,04,000 का 75%, that will give you 10,53,000. That gives you 10,53,000. This means, you know what? Today if you go to the bank for financing with this data, you need total 14,04,000 as per method 1. Bank will support you till the financing of 10,53,000. Remaining, if there is a shortage, you have to arrange. If you have your own cash, no need, but people will approach bank only when they need money. Got it? So in short, method number 1 is 14,04,000 ka 75%, or current assets minus current liability. This is current assets minus current liability. Uska 75%. Method 3 is not asked. Now, method number 2. What I told you the difference, understand, again I am repeating. One में current assets minus current liability difference का 75%. Method 2 में it will be 75% of your current assets, and from that you deduct your current liabilities. 75% of current assets, and from that you deduct your current liabilities. So 1692 into 75, 1269. Sorry, current liability 28. Sorry, I wrote that 288. So 1269 minus 288 gives you 9,81,000. Repeat again. Take 75% of your current assets, from that deduct 2. Got it? So as per method 1, you will be provided finance up to 10,53,000, and method 2 में you will be provided up to 981. But to decide these two, first is what you need is. So first forecast the current assets, forecast the current liabilities, and then work out the maximum permissible bank finance. 3 methods. See what has been asked. Sometimes they'll ask you only first 2, sometimes they'll ask you all 3. Got it, guys? So this was the first sum of this chapter of the first part, where maximum permissible bank finance is to be calculated as per the norms prescribed by Tandon committee. Clear guys? This being the first video of this chapter, I've just kept introduction and sum number 1. Anyway, the video is extended, so I will not be able to continue the next sum in this video, so that I'm taking it in the next video. So guys, before I go to the next video, before you all go and see the next video, see to it that you all are thorough with the basic sum, because remember, all these calculations are based on the table here. If you make a mistake here, it will have an impact here. They can ask you full 15 marks ka sum on this. They can ask you 7-8 mark ka sum where they will give you the details of the current assets and current liability, and they may just tell you to calculate this. Or they can ask you 5 marks ke 3, one small sum on commercial paper, one small sum just to get maximum permissible bank finance, one small sum on factoring. They can split this chapter in 2 to 3 sums of 5 marks, 3 sums of 5 marks, or 7-8 marks depending upon the situation. Okay guys, so I'll wind up the video here. I'll be taking 2 more sums, which I will take it in the next video. So here I end this video, and I'll be taking the next sums in the next video.